To remain updated with the latest business news, click on the bell icon.
Well, the Indian skies are making way for a new airline, and this is amidst all the turbulence that the aviation sector is facing in the third wave of COVID-19. Backed by the big bull that is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and led by the best ones from the aviation sector. One of them is also joining me on this chat today. I have Vinay Dube with me, who is the founder, the managing director and chief executive officer of Akasa Air, who's also been former chief executive officer of various other key airlines in India. Thank you so much, Vinay, for joining us on this chat on Business Today TV.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Karishma. Thank you for having me.
First and foremost, how's the planning going on for Akasa Air?
It's going well, actually. And I feel a bit sad saying it's going well, given the raging pandemic all around us, and the toll it's taken on human lives. So please excuse the fact that I've said it's going well, but within that context, it's going very well.
Right. And has there been any direct impact, because it's going well, but has there been any impact of the third wave COVID-19 on the timelines and the progress that you had set designed?
Not really, because our plan is to launch our first commercial flight in late May or early June. And so most of the work that we're doing today is very inward focused. We've got a lot of work that we're doing with the DGCA to try and get our air operator certificate. It's a very rigorous process that they have. And there's a lot of planning and documentation and process work that needs to take place. We're also, just started hiring for pilots and flight attendants. So at this point, there's not much interference that the third wave have. Of course, like all good companies, we have shut down our offices, and we are only working virtually from home for 98% of our staff. So we're taking the right precautions, but in terms of our planning, no, it's not. It has not changed course.
Right. And when do you expect the first aircraft to arrive? You've placed an order of about 72 737 Boeing MAX aircraft. So when is the first one expected to arrive, and when is the takeoff expected?
Yeah. So I'll give you a bit of a timeline. So the first aircraft we hope to get in the second half of April. The first commercial flight will be in late May, early June. And then just to give you a slightly broader perspective, we hope by the end of the fiscal year 23, so by the end of March 23, we hope to have about 18 aircraft that are flying in the Akasa fleet. And then over the next 4 years, we'll get about 12 to 14 each year. And that's how we get to 72 aircraft over a 5-year span.
When is the first takeoff expected? Is that going to be post-March?
Yeah, so when I say takeoff, I have to be careful in that when the first aircraft arrives in the second half of May, we will be flying it because that's part of the requirement to get an air operator certificate is that you have to go on these test flights. So I'm ignoring that, but the first commercial flight will be in late May, early June. I can't be any more specific than that today. Because we're going through this process of getting the air operator certificate today.
Right. Now, I know that the processes further will give us a clearer idea of the kind of routes that you're targeting or the kind of spots that the ministry is also reserving. But do you have in mind a draft plan on what kind of routes you'd like to? Is it going to be the metro routes, or is it going to be more of regional connectivity?
Actually, it's going to be in between. So we think that while we will fly some metro-to-metro routes, as we get, you have to get your aircraft around your system. But we think the primary area of our focus is going to be from metro to tier 2 and tier 3 cities. That's where we think our initial focus is going to be.
And how about international? Is that also on the road?
Yes, that's on the cards as well. Based on the Government of India rules, you need to have at least 20 aircraft before you can fly internationally. And we will get to 20 aircraft by about the summer of 2023. So in the second half of the calendar year 2023 is when you can expect us to fly internationally.
Okay. Now, of course, you've stressed on this and you've given a clarification that Akasa is a low-cost carrier and not the ULCC. Now, in terms of that, it requires one kind of aircraft to start off with no business class. Do you think that's a sustainable kind of choice that you've taken in a market that is going to be very competitive, because you have two other leading airlines also?
Yes, Karishma, we think that one of the keys to sort of longevity in aviation is that you've got a very competitive cost structure. And having a single aircraft type, having an all economy configuration is an important element of having a competitive cost structure. And so, yes, we're very, very confident about the decision that we've taken. We think this is, a highly sustainable business model. Now, having said that, I'll tell you that servicing our customers with warm, genuine, efficient, and dependable customer service is also very important to us.
Right.
And so I should stress that it's both getting your cost structure right, but also really being hyper focused on the needs of the customers. That will make our enterprise durable, and that's what we plan on doing, and that's where we get our confidence from.
Right. Since you've been stressing, Vinay, a lot that the focus is going to be on the customer, and of course, why not? It's the business where the consumer is of key importance. But tell me, what is the USP of the airline? What is it that's going to set apart from the competition in the market, the domestic competition?
Yeah. So I think let's keep this focus on the consumer, because I think a large part of setting us aside from the competition is also the way the airline is set up, right? Its cost structure, its management team, the efficiency with which we will run day-to-day operations, and that is what helps create long-term, very robust franchise. But from a customer perspective, we want to use technology in a manner that it hasn't been used before. It's a fresh start for us. And so other than our personalities, as an airline, in building the DNA of the airline from day one as being warm and hospitable and efficient, we'd like to use technology in the way we deliver that brand promise. And it's technology in the shopping experience, it's technology in the check-in and purchasing experience, it's on board and it's post-travel. And so very broadly speaking, we want to obviously do right by our customers. And from a unique perspective, hopefully we'll use technology in unique ways to deliver that brand promise.
Right. And by this, do you also mean that the prices of the flights could come a bit cheaper or affordable? I know that also depends a lot on the market sentiments and how the sector is performing, but will you be looking, because it's quite a price war right now in the industry?
Yeah, well, look, we have no intention of getting into a war with anybody. Our intention is really just to focus on the customer. And in fact, Karishma, one of the reasons why we're here, one of the reasons, what's the emotion behind us starting the airline was really in India today, there's still a large segment of the population that hasn't flown even once. And it's not just price. Honestly, there is, with a large segment of our population, just an intimidation factor. Look, I don't speak English. How will I traverse the airport, for example? Right. And so for us, it's not just price that will make us affordable, but we will also want to take care and focus on that flyer who's never, flown before, who might have an intimidation factor at the airport, and really guide them through the entire process so that they'll come back again, because their time is just as valuable as anybody else's time. There's no reason for someone like that to say, well, the price is the same. I'll just spend, 36 hours between a train and a bus, when they can save 24 out of those hours. So our aim is not just, the continuation of the democratization of air travel through price, but it's through price and the experience as well that we will welcome first-time flyers with.
Right. And what kind of experiences are these? I mean, are these going to be on the luxury note? Is this going to be
No. For first-time flyers, for example, it's just, how we guide them through with aids, and hopefully heavy use of technology in the aids as we guide them through the travel process and the journeys, the ability to shop and book in their language, the ability to be guided through the process in their language, how we welcome them on board. We want to be as welcoming to the frequent flyer as we want to the first-time flyer. But that's easier said than done, because the frequent flyer sort of, they don't need as much help. They want the warmth, they want the efficiency. But the first-time flyer, you have to go above and beyond to be able to welcome them and make them feel comfortable. And that's part of our service ethos as well.
Right. Vinay, you just mentioned that you don't want to get into any kind of wars, but there's a kind of chase that is going on the hiring front. Tell me your plans, because there have been reports that there's quite a hiring war when it comes to employees, the crew and pilots.
Yeah, you've used that term again, and I'm telling you that, Karishma, there's no such war. We don't go into war. We are hyper focused on our customers. We are hyper focused on our employees. We want to build a very employee centric company. That's the type of company I grew up in, and that's the type of company we want to create. All of us founding members want to create. And so, with that backdrop, I will say that the response we have got to the advertisements we put out, and by the way, these aren't sort of advertisements in national newspapers, etc. It's sort of just electronic advertisements and, opening our website for people to submit the applications. We have been, overwhelmed with the kind of response we've got. I mean, really, beyond our wildest expectations. And while on the one side, it makes me incredibly happy that there's so many people that want to work for Akasa, but there is a hint of sadness as well, because when so many people are applying for these jobs, it also means there's a bit of unemployment out there in the economy, and COVID and the pandemic has taken its toll, not just on the general population, but also the people that are aviation specific. So I would say that, with that hint of sadness, we're going through thousands of applications that we've received, and really we're just focused on being, fair in our hiring process with the overwhelming response that we've got.
Got it. Now, one question, of course, is on the financial sustainability of it. You're starting out strong, and backed by the big bull, of course, is a great start. But in the future, how do you see this panning out? Do you think there'll be a need to raise funds?
So I'd say first, we're incredibly fortunate to have Mr. Jhunjhunwala, select us and be part of this journey with us. To start the airline, and obviously we're very, very fortunate, because it's not just important for an airline to be well capitalized, but it's the quality of that capital that counts. And you don't get the kind of quality that is any better than Mr. Jhunjhunwala. So first, we're very, very fortunate. The second thing is that given my experience, and particularly my recent experience, where I saw the devastation that an airline's bankruptcy has on its employees, we've sort of pledged to say that we will continue to be well capitalized in the future. At this point, we don't need to raise any more funds. We're doing well. But again, when it comes to a philosophy, when it comes to an approach of how we plan on being sustainable, what does it mean to watch your employees' backs? It means that if we do need to go out and raise money and dilute our stakes, that's what we'll do. But at this point, there's no need. We planned it. We're optimistic about the future of aviation. People keep looking at India on its own, and I keep telling people that, look, if you want to see what's happening with aviation and where India is headed, look at other more mature aviation geographies as well. And just an example, if you look at the decade prior to COVID, the US industry as a whole was making a lot of money. My employer, Delta, who I think is, one of the finest airlines in the world, and, I think by far has the best management team in the world. When I was there and post my departure, we made, for 10 years in a row, made profits, pre-tax, and not just 1 or 2 million, but, pre-tax income that started with a B in billions of dollars. And so my view is I'm very bullish on the future of Indian aviation and the kind of profits that not just Akasa will make, but that the industry as a whole can make if it's with players that are well capitalized, who've focused on their cost structure and are very professionally run. I think those are the kinds of airlines that you will find 20, 30 years from now.
Well, you just did mention, and that brings me to my last question, that the future looks bright for the sector, but keeping in mind that there have been, these temporary hindrances caused by COVID-19. Now we're going to see launch of a new airline and also return of an old airline, Jet Airways, and of course Air India is getting on its task to be given to Tatas now. With this perspective, how do you see things panning out for consumers from the domestic market in aviation?
Yeah, so I think that air travel is intricately linked to India's overall economy. And I'm bullish in air travel, and part of the reason I'm bullish in air travel is because I'm very bullish on India's economy. I think it's going to be growing gangbusters, for the next 2-3 decades. And by the way, it's not just me, but everyone you talk to is extremely bullish about the long-term future of the Indian economy. And by the way, we're starting the airline not for 1 or 2 years. We're not starting it with some sort of hockey stick effect in mind. We're in it because we want to create an airline, that our children and grandchildren will fly on. And so we're very, very optimistic that, pre-COVID, there were maybe 650 aircraft that were flying narrow body in India. You look 20 years from now and there'll be, 1,500 or 2,000 aircraft. And our view is that we just want to be able to serve our customers in a small piece of that pie. We're not worried about which other airlines are starting up or which incumbents are there. Our thought is if we can get our, finances correct, our cost structure correct, our capitalization correct, we really take care of our employees and we focus on our customers, we can create, a market for ourselves and a very durable business. So, Karishma, that's what we're focused on, really.
Vinay, for talking to us, and it looks like a clear focus, I must say. So wish you good luck and the team as, of course, we await for the big news to come in.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.